Nama saya Muhammad Yunus, pengasas kepada evanescence.com, di mana idea ni mula dicipta ataupun dilahirkan berdasarkan masalah yang saya dan isteri hadapi sebelum kita kahwin. That was back in tahun 2007. So you know lah all the issues masa nak kahwin kan. Invitation, guest daripada beberapa pihak. So yes, we didn't do anything at that point in time. So selepas kahwin tu, we sat down and then we realised that something needs to be done by developing a small app. So apa yang kita buat ialah, since I have a technical background sedikit pada masa tu, so I built a small application untuk serve this wedding industry je. So we tested with the wedding, kawan-kawan kita tested, semua bagi good feedback dan sebagainya, but I was still working at that point in time. Until I realised that by 2009, I need to expand this idea to cater other industries as well. So saya resign daripada kerja saya pada masa tu dan fully focus on this masa 2010. So pada mulanya kita banyak bergantung pada kawan-kawan. Kawan-kawan biasalah kan, semua akan bagi benda yang positif. So it's a false, sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's a false feedback. So apa yang kita dapat pada masa tu ialah they like to use it, but at the end of the day they do not want to pay for it. Okay, so we always stuck with that. But after a while, lepas 3-4 bulan going to the market, asking the right people, especially orang yang buat event rather than wedding planners. We talk to people yang buat workshop, buat training, buat conference. So what these people basically tell us is that we need a tool that can help us manage registration, yang boleh manage database, yang boleh mengeluarkan invitation secara automatic so that dia punya staff boleh fokus pada benda-benda lain. So input ni kita dapat dalam 3 ke 6 bulan lah berterusan. Kita prepare, baik pulih, bagi kepada market balik. So the positive feedback yang kita dapat tu membolehkan kita membaik pulih sistem Evanescence sehingga ke tahap dia sekarang ni lah. Sekarang ni kita ada 4 segmen. So segmen yang paling banyak bawa revenue dekat kita ialah corporate. Okay, I would say dalam 75% daripada revenue stream kita datang daripada corporate clients. These are banks, government agencies, MNCs, di mana 25% lagi ni datang daripada combination of these 3 segments. Training companies, orang yang buat workshop sebagainya. PCO ni adalah professional conference organizers, dia ni banyak buat conference organizers. Dan satu lagi event management companies. This one can be public event, private event, small scale events. So I would say 75%, 25% is basically the breakdown of kita punya revenue stream sekarang lah. It is not sustainable, because when you do that, you'll always be hit with the scalability issue. We realized that from day one. So the design of the system is to avoid that from happening. But when you go to market, you have to realize that you are in Malaysia, and event planners in Malaysia are not there yet as opposed to those from the westerners countries. Okay, so which is why we have a team right now that still have to serve this market. But when we started to go out to like Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, it is easier. We do a lot of inbound marketing, everything is self-serve. We tend to get more customers at a lower acquisition rate. Okay? So last year when we started until this year, so we are looking at a better scalability while not too focused on our existing market. I'm not to say that Malaysian is, but we have to just face it lah. It's all about education, and especially in our industry, we are in the events industry. If you're talking about other industry, maybe they are faster in terms of picking up certain technologies. But these industries, costs always play a role, and education in terms of, do I prefer hiring people and managing my guest list on a piece of paper rather than buying your solution? You will always look at cost, pricing, then if it is too expensive, or maybe if it's taking some part of their budget, they will just say no. So right now, like I said, when we move our when we open office in Singapore, that's our strategy. We want to be scalable, definitely. The system allows us to do that. Our issue right now is the acceptance of the customers. Kan, sebab sekarang mesti kat, hello, okay, boleh tak? Can you come and do a presentation? Especially corporate. You can't scale with corporate. Put it that way lah. Everybody knows kan. You can't scale with corporate clients, but they give you good money lah to sustain. But moving forward, I say, to achieve what vision that we have to look at this long tail that Eventbrite is basically taking up right now lah. Which is why today we are regularly running events to educate. We call it igniting change within the industry. So we want people to change within the industry so that the benefit will be to the technology companies lah. Interestingly enough, when we started back in 2010, 2011, we don't really see ourselves as their direct competitor tau. Masa diorang start pun, they were just focusing on ticketing. Ticketing maksudnya saya jual tiket, orang datang event, I can join the event. So masa tu when we started, we focus more on the process behind the scene sebelum, semasa dan selepas. Sebelum ni lebih melibatkan macam yang saya kata ticketing dan sebagainya, tapi semasa tu kurang. Semasa survey, on the day of the event, the process of check-in, dan juga selepas di mana you have to do a lot of analytics behind the scene. So our focus tends to be comprehensive for event planners, which is why corporate event organisers suka kat kita. Maksudnya kita cover more from their point of view. And then the good thing about us is that kita ni local. Kita ni local, the support that they get is very close. As opposed to Eventbrite, yes, free, then you just have to pay for paid events, but they stop at that level. You can't really get the personal localization that we understand from the market here. So this is where daripada 2011 sampai sekarang, we managed to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. If you talk about the product itself, kita dah go through, I would say, 3 or 4 rounds of pivot in terms of business model. Features pun dah banyak berubah daripada apa yang kita mula-mula start dulu. So I would say masa mula-mula, like I said, it was meant for wedding planners saja. So kita upgrade, kita revamp totally, we do a lot of rebranding, and then we totally focus on these 4 market, helping the corporate, PCO, training dan sebagainya. So that was, I would say, version 2.0. Dan what we have right now is a platform. So bila kita kata platform ialah kita ada satu platform dan ada a lot of apps that are sitting on top of Evanesys. So right now kita ada Evanesys as the main platform, kita ada listing marketplace untuk you letak you punya event, macam Eventbrite, itu satu. Kita ada supplier listing as well. So now we are aggregating supplier yang melibatkan event ni, F&B, it could be AV dan sebagainya, dia boleh letak dalam kita punya platform so that event organizer boleh jumpa dia orang. Dan yang paling baru sekali, which is last year kita launch, is a product called Venueville. Okay, so if we take Venueville aside pun dia boleh jadi another startup lah, because dia melibatkan marketplace untuk orang nak buat event tak jumpa venue, orang yang ada venue tak boleh nak market dia punya venue dekat event organizer. So Venueville.asia kita launch tahun lepas, sekarang dah ada lebih kurang dalam 1000 venue di Klang Valley, di Lembah Kelang. So katakan sekarang you nak cari tempat untuk buat event, pergi je kat Venueville.asia. Kita listkan all the different type of venues. Kita talking about boutique venues, bukan hotel. Hotel, I'm not going into hotel lah. We are looking at cafe, we're looking at small boutique venues, etc. So you boleh tengok dia punya price semua dekat situ. So this is basically a few of the major milestones in terms of product itself. But dari segi business, alhamdulillah, ever since we started, we get a lot of support from government agencies. So among the first few fundings that we got daripada MDEC dan juga Cradle Commercialization Grant. So they help us to grow from the idea conceptualization phase kepada pre-commercialization. And other agencies macam MDEC, Matrade, they actually help us to export our product, which is why last year we set up our own company in Singapore, which is why we having our second operation there right now, and kita pun dah ada appointed partner di Hong Kong. So these are basically our current strategy where we are looking at outside of Malaysia and focusing on these 2 countries yang kita rasa very active in events, which is Singapore dengan Hong Kong. Enterprise solution, until I would say 2016, now we are looking at going to right to the customer macam Eventbrite. So this year, I think around March or April, we're gonna launch a new feature that is gonna compete head-on dengan PTX, Eventbrite. Kalau sebelum ni orang kata kenapa you tak jadi macam diorang, now we have a Malaysian flavour of Eventbrite dengan PTX. So watch out for April, where whatever that you can do in Eventbrite before this, you can definitely do it in Evanesys. As a team, kita were debating this a lot, but because we have a strong brand, to create another brand will involve a lot of time and cost. So we decided at this point in time to utilize whatever brand power that we have, meaning that it has been known, especially in our market, as Evanesys. Cuma kita akan put it as a sub-feature of our existing product. So it is still going to be called Evanesys. Alhamdulillah, I must say, after we got that pre-com from Cradle, we are self-sustainable until today. So So meaning that we are making a good profit which we are investing into our R&D right now lah. But we are not closing doors to investment because we are looking at the next stage of growing outside of Malaysia. So definitely to grow fast, you need more money. So like I said, we are not closing our doors to investments lah. Okay lah, banyak. So challenges normal. Any startups or even old startup like us ni, we went through a lot of phases. But at the initial stage when we first started, which I think a lot of startups sekarang facing, is that validating the idea, testing the business model, and also balancing the whatever fund that you have with you like at that point in time. So it was a struggle for the first 6 months after we released our prototype, sebab we cannot sell. Okay, we think based on the idea that we validated, we can sell. But when we first set it out as a freemium model, free ramai take up. But bila converting those to actually paid clients, we were having troubles. Which is why kita pivot at that point in time, and then we started to focus, shift more on people that can pay. So these are the bigger companies lah, corporations, those kind of things. So those are the early, I would say, challenges that we faced. But after that, it's all about the team itself. As you grow, you need to add more people. More people will give you more headaches. The team dynamic, hiring, firing, those kind of things. So that is something that I think any of the startups will face challenge. But one thing that I learned is that take time in terms of hiring lah. Take time in terms of getting the right key people in your company. I think the recent hiree that we get it took us about 8 to 10 months to actually find him to fill up the senior position role, especially in development. And I mean, we've interviewed few people until we think we managed to get the right person. But nak fire is very hard in Malaysia. People can say that you hire fast, hire fast kan. Sini you can hire fast, but you cannot fire fast. It has to follow the labour law dan sebagainya. So we learn from that as well. So I must say that right now it's more about scaling, funding, finding the right investor, finding the right partner. So all of that throughout the years are basically challenges that I believe we have overcome, and we are still learning lah in terms of finding the right ways to tackle each of the problems lah. Masa start, sebelum kita dapat funding, it is just me and my wife. Bila kita first dapat funding daripada MDEC, kita tak ada full time pun. Masa tu kita ambil part timer 2-3 orang sebagai developer. And then when we managed to get Cradle punya pre-coms, that's where we started hiring people on full time. So at that point in time, kita ada about 5 people, and then at one time we have grown up to about 15, but right now we have scaled down and we are about 10 people. So we're still lean, having this startup mentality, even though I don't quite agree with the sense that if you're 5-6 years old, you are not considered startup. Definitely not, but then the mentality is still startup. We are an MSC company, so we have to be in MSC status area. But yes, Cyberjaya is also part of the area that we can be in. But to me, the decision came in when we first talked to this coach in TPM back in 2011 when we were trying to get a funding. So I was just basically talking to a few people until I met coach by the name of Azrai. So without any kind of commitment whatsoever, he basically told me what we need to do, what we need to prepare in order to pitch to Cradle. So dia macam he give me this kind of like 30-minute to 50-minute kind of coaching session for free tau, without me knowing him personally. So I was like, okay, interesting, this guy wants to help me. So after that we pitched, we got that, and then we have to decide where we want to move. And then we simply decided that we want to move to a place that is close to this person. And this person happens to actually manage the incubation in TPM. So kalau tanya, is it because of near to the center? Is it because of I don't know, MSC status? It is more because of the network and the value that we can gain from that place. So until today, I think about 5 years now, we are still in Technology Park Malaysia.
Tak ada plan lah.
I think as we grow, as in if we increase our headcount to 15 or 20, definitely we're gonna move out to a bigger place. But I will not rule out TPM again, because TPM is huge kan, ada banyak building that we can go in. But then again, outside, if you are an MSC company, the price is crazy for you to be in places like in KL, even in KL Central, in Jalan Tun Razak, those kind of things. So you are left with either TPM or you go back to Cyberjaya. Kan? And Cyberjaya to us is because most of our staff right now are closer to KL than to that side of the city lah. When we first started into entrepreneurship lah, when I first started into entrepreneurship, I have zero knowledge on business. So when you have zero knowledge on business, you tend to do everything macam lasar je lah. Kan? So that's where you start to go to events, meet up with people. So happened that I met Azrai, and then I met a lot of other people like Doc Siva, Said Izmi, and these are the people that along the way coach me and my team. Okay, ada few people, but I don't personally have a single mentor or coach that guide me from A to Z from 2010 until now. Tak ada. So the people change. Because these people are those who give us advice, who tell us basically what they have done, what you're not supposed to do, and then other than that, it's all about your business acumen lah. It's all about you tweaking yourself to make sure you don't fall into the same trap that they have been before. But I must say banyak mentor dekat and coaches in Malaysia that you can learn from. It's just matter of you finding them. Sekarang I would say 75% local, 25% foreigners. Kita basically we hire expats because of talent pool lah. Put it that way lah. It's very hard to find good, especially programmers, developers, senior lead developers in Malaysia, as opposed to hiring from Kazakhstan, from Iran, and recently we have another lady from Italy. So we try to mix lah. The thing is, it's good to have a mixture because locals ni, you know lah, locals, if you stick with locals, they will become locals. Locals, you stick them with foreigners, they will have a better mixture, a bigger, innovative minds lah. We have always been looking at getting listed sebenarnya. So always people have asked me, why are you not getting VC investment? Why are you not into angel or private equity, those kind of things? But I'm looking straight at listing. Okay, so to get listed, you need to build a good portfolio lah. You need to have a certain profits within 2 to 3 years. We're looking at either listing it in Australia or Japan, depending on the market sort of like fluidity at that point in time, and that's one of our exit point lah. So we should, to get there, we need to be a regional player, definitely. Malaysia je tak boleh lah. How are you going to get listed if you're not a regional player kan? Which is why we have a base now in Singapore. We're going to strengthen our base in Hong Kong, and hopefully we have a base in Australia. So this base will basically cover what we call the Asia Pacific region lah. So hopefully we can compete by then directly with players like Eventbrite, all of these other multinational players in this region.